solutions. At Fairway, our team helps you restore balance through mediation, negotiation, and a unique step-by-step process. With 2 offices in Edmonton dedicated to serving your needs, our goal is simple: to help you navigate a path back to peace and clarity. Visit us today at Fairway Divorce.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Cantork has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say,
from the first pitch to the final out. Catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
Welcome back to Nissan Head to Head. Today, we've got Nissan Kicks coming in strong as a leader in fuel efficiency for gas-only CUVs. Some of the other guys respond with a wallet-breaking detour to the pumps. Hats off to Nissan's fuel-efficient Japanese engineering.
Right now, finance a Nissan Kicks for 0% for 36 months. Visit Nissan.ca for details. Conditions apply.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1, saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2, water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3, saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burn, the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Hi there, it's Alan Mitchell. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge May savings on new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickups and all remaining 2025 terrain SUVs. WolfGMCBuick.com. A very busy day. We're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens moving on to the semifinals, or what we call the semifinals, conference finals for you younger people, against the Carolina Hurricanes, and their build and how it differed from the Edmonton Oilers build beginning in 2015. Actually, about 1 hour after Connor McDavid was drafted, the Edmonton Oilers went a different direction than what we're seeing the Montreal Canadiens of today did a few years ago. We're also going to talk about classic NBA weekend. Oh my goodness, that's been the talk of the radio station all morning, and why not? And we're going to have a lot of fun too. We will talk about the Edmonton Oilers. We will talk about Cassidy, and we'll talk about Berube and all of that straight ahead. We want to welcome to the show, and we know that, we've only got 4 days worth of chatter, so we have to be, really, really verbal over the next, say, 4 shows before Friday. The Oilers will do a thorough search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, and doghouse in search of that next coach. Maybe Berube. I mean, he's being interviewed, and they're not interviewing Cassidy, and it looks like Vegas may not allow anybody to interview him. We'll talk about that and more. By the way, as you know, we are live on YouTube and Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, iHeartRadio, and Radio Player Canada. After the show, it's Apple and Spotify podcast. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, Declan Krueger, J Fenwick 04, and Donovan Paulson. Yeah, This is going to be wild. There's so much to talk about. That's what happens a May long weekend when the weather's crappy and everybody stays inside and is entertained by the great play that happened on the court and on the ice. All right, it's time for the introductions. This weekend, he went north, way up north, and spent time with some pretty cool people. As he told me earlier today, he doesn't get to spend time with cool people often. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody. How was the trip?
It was lovely. It was a fantastic drive. The roads were very nice. There wasn't anybody on them.
Nice.
And yeah, spent a lot of time playing cards, just sort of asserting my dominance that I am, in fact, better at cards than she is.
What kind of card games?
We played A-Hole.
Well, that's...
absolutely smoked her in that. I skunked her in crib. My first ever win in crib against her, and I skunked her.
I bet she was pleased.
Oh, she was super happy about that.
Did you do a lot of pegging in the game?
All right. Yes, I did.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
It's a cribbage term.
Yep. Met a bunch of her friends, and we had drinks and played games. It was a very lovely weekend.
Okay, good stuff. He told me he doesn't spend time with people because there are none. But he's really just mad his fantasy baseball pitching staff is trash. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Donovan Paulson. Donovan Paulson, everybody.
People don't exist.
Well,
I've
seen you walk by people in the mall.
My pitching staff doesn't exist. I can tell you that for sure.
Who's your best starter?
It's Edward Cabrera.
Okay, that's a struggle.
Yeah, but pretty much everybody's dead. I'm talking like my entire team right now. I have like 6 injuries and they're all pretty much corpses at this point. So my team is donezo for the year.
Yeah,
it's over. It's already.
But now you can build for next year.
Yeah, I'm actually. Well, I have a couple guys coming back in Corbin Burns and.
Oh, nice. Okay. Do you have River Ryan? He's going to be coming up for the Dodgers. He's going to be good.
Do not have River Ryan, but I have Corbin Burns and I have Justin Steele coming off TJ. So
right,
we'll be set up at some point.
Yeah,
it's just will this team eventually get healthy?
And nobody's here to help you because Tim Ellis doesn't play in the league anymore. So there's nothing you can do. All right. He's bunking out at Elks practice these days. It's bleeding into his work. Just 30 minutes ago, he tackled one of our account refs for a 10-yard loss of the coffee machine. Ref flew a flag. What a cowardly act that was. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
Hey, yo.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I always love the fugitive references. You've dropped them a couple times in the 2.5 years we've been doing this. One of my favorite movies, never lost on me. Always appreciate it. Great weekend to Elks camp. Great weekend to sports. Happy to be here.
Want to start here. No disrespect to the hockey. We're going to get to the hockey, but Wembanyama, he threw a ball from like how far was it? Laredo? It had to be a town. He threw.
We actually have a confirmed length on that.
I think it was 28 feet. They were saying Yucatan. I mean, it's normal.
Wild.
Do you guys ever see like old videos of pro players talking about Lionel Messi and they're like, it's not normal?
Yes.
That's how we need to be talking about Victor Wembanyama. It doesn't make sense.
But he did it. He made it look like it was simple. It was like a layup. And it's like from 4,000 feet.
Yeah, it was only his second 3 of the game. He was 0 for 1 before that. He pulls up from 30 feet, like we said, 28 feet, whatever the exact number was, to send the game to double overtime. Like he is inevitable.
And swished it.
It was a little back rimming down, but I'm not gonna.
He didn't rattle around at all.
And this is the thing. I so desperately wanted to start pushing a narrative that he's the best player in the world now because I gave that title to SGA a couple weeks ago after Jokic's complete fall off in the playoffs. Listen, the Thunder could still come back and win this series in 5, so I think we need to hold off on those narratives for now. But boy, get yours now. Like if you are Oklahoma City or you are Cleveland or you are New York, get yours now because the league is about to be on lockdown for a decade plus.
I love it. Okay, we got to get to the hockey and we will right now. Emily Kaplan reporting Vegas Golden Knights appealed the NHL's punishment in person this morning. It was determined that the penalties, a $100,000 fine for John Tortorella and loss of a second-round draft pick for the team will remain as assessed. Now, riffing off of that, Elliot Friedman says, as for Bruce Cassidy, sources indicate that was not part of the conversation between the league and Vegas today. Status is unchanged as of this morning. Vegas is not inclined to give permission to Edmonton or LA. We will see about Toronto. So this can only take us a certain amount of time, but at some point in time, the Oilers will have to move on. So my question to you, and we'll start with young Donovan here, who hasn't said anything, shockingly, in several minutes. I want to talk to you a little bit about, I'm concerned Berube is the first guy we're talking about interviewing. It's a long distance from Cassidy to Berube in terms of using offense in a creative way. Do you think Berube is a legit candidate, and would you be shocked if they hired him as the next coach of the Edmonton Oilers?
I wouldn't be shocked because he kind of fits the mold of coach that they're looking for, a guy who's won before.
He got a hot goalie in 2019.
He did have a really hot goalie in 2019, but he's a bit of a hard ass.
And I think that I'm concerned that's what they want. They feel like these guys aren't working hard enough. And Berube is not a fan of the forward pass.
I like the hard ass element. What I don't like about Craig Berube is there is, as you mentioned, the lack of creativity. It's if you're someone who's looking at Craig Berube, just know it will be dump and chase. It will be, it doesn't matter what your name is, you're going to be dumping and chasing. That's one of the things in my analysis that kind of plagued the Leafs last year. And Austin Matthews took way too many defensive zone starts. I know
all the time.
I know he's a good defensive player,
but you need him on the offense.
You can't, like, what are you doing?
I will go so far as to say if they hire Berube, as the head coach, McDavid's gone.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
I just think if you're hiring Craig Berube and you're the Oilers, you are going to be looking at, to me, that's at least a 20-point drop off.
This
for Connor McDavid and co.
I would absolutely agree with that, and no improvement in goal share, which is the key. In expected 5-on-5 goals over the last several years. 2021 with Dave Tippett, the Oilers were at 50%. Following year of Woodcroft, it was 52%, then 54% with Woodcroft, 57% in Knobloch's first year, 54% in his second year, and down to 51% under Knobloch last year. I would say they'll end up mid to late 40s if they hire Berube. I don't know how alarmed people are by the idea of Berube being the first guy interviewed, but I think there should be alarm in Edmonton. I'm sounding the alarm for worry about you've got a Maserati and a Mercedes in the parking lot, and you're going to treat everybody like they're a pickup. This is bad news for the Edmonton Oilers. No way around it.
In saying that, I think he's a good coach, but I think he's a good coach for a team like the Nashville Predators, where you don't have Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. And if you've listened to the show, you've heard us talk about, the Oilers need to play better defensive system. They need to play and lock it down a little bit more. And would I be surprised if Craig Berube, if he was the coach? No. Would I be surprised if he came in and was better defensively and kind of locked them down a little bit? No, I wouldn't be surprised. But in this case, I don't think it's a good thing because of the lack of offensive, we'll call it mindset. Like there's no offensive creativity, as you said off the top.
Yeah, and you end up playing defense more, and they gave up 299 goals last year, 60 goals more than they did the previous year.
Now,
their goaltending wasn't terrible,
but I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. Like they're look at who's playing defense for that team, and they had so many injuries. Like that's not all Craig Berube.
No, and the GM got fired too, deservedly.
Like. Man, they were down to what? Their 9th defenseman? Their 10th
all
defenseman?
Bad. Every one of them.
Oh, all of them were bad, and they had to play so many different bodies on the blue line. So I'll push back to that a little bit.
If the Edmonton Oilers hire Berube and trade for Morgan Riley, then 2 years from now, there's going to be a lottery pick announced in Edmonton.
If the Oilers trade for Morgan Riley, that's my red flag.
The Edmonton Oilers tend to get somebody sneezes in Toronto and the Edmonton Oilers catch cold. That's how I feel this is going to go. I'm not a fan of the Berube hire. Not for this team.
I'm not either. It's not the right fit. There's anybody else.
I'll be interested in seeing how many names after Berube come. If they hire him quickly, then this is a bad road. That's all I'm saying. Declan, What are your thoughts about the Edmonton Oilers coach? We were talking about Cassidy on Friday. We're talking about Berube today.
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
Yeah, me and Josh, we obviously for Declinations gave our top 5 lists of coaches outside of Bruce Cassidy we would want for the Oilers, and maybe we would predict / think for the Edmonton Oilers. Josh's was just 5 different anagrams of Bruce Cassidy. Hilarious.
They weren't even anagrams. They're just,
what was the third one? It was so funny.
It had a bit of a Nordic
it was
flair
like
to it.
Truce Bassity or something. I don't remember.
It's really funny. It was good. Anyway,
but
sorry.
yeah, no. In regard to Bruce Cassidy, I don't love the fit. It reeks of, and I think everyone would kind of feel this way. I think it just reeks of like, wow, we couldn't get our guy. Is this the best option? And I think a lot of people would probably kind of, infer that it isn't the best option. It's just something who's there. And I think that 2019 Cup with St. Louis, like that would carry a lot of water and kind of the narratives of why they did it. I don't like the fit. I don't think he's what they need. It's definitely not the direction I would go. To be fair, though, I think it's safe to say like the Oilers are pretty one track on the guy they want. And so if you have to pivot so drastically because Vegas isn't going to let you go get the guy you want, you got to make some kind of, I don't even want to say tough decisions, but you just got to make some decisions that become emotionally driven, right? And that feels to me like what Craig Berube might be.
I totally agree. Very great take. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, if they hire him fast, that's where the problem comes in. I agree with you on that and I would not put it past the Oilers front office to hire Berube fast if all of a sudden, nope, like Vegas makes it clear we're not giving you any permission to talk to Bruce Cassidy in any way, shape, or form. Then Berube gets hired. You're like, ooh, this seems like another one of those classic Edmonton Oilers things where they're making a move.
I mean, that's the fear here. I mean, the number one bullet point of Craig Berube's resume is I got a hot goalie in 2019 and we won the Stanley. And the you can talk about the defense being not good in Toronto, but they were by design what the coach wanted, and none of them could. They beat the puck square. We've seen that here. We have seen that here in Edmonton. It does not work. You need to have good puck movers. It's not for everybody. Pat Queen did not like Lubomir Wisnowski. He called him Barbara Ann Scott, and they ended up trading him. But he was a brilliant puck mover. He was a great passer. This team has a great passer in Evan Bouchard. If you start curtailing that, this team is headed nowhere. Ask Austin Matthews how many crisp tape-to-tape passes from defensemen hit his stick this year. I'm going to say it was less than 25.
Okay, but also, like some of the names that played hockey for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year include Dakota Murmis, Matt Benning, who we know in Edmonton, hasn't played in the NHL for a hot minute, basically. A guy named Marshall Rafi. I don't think I said that right.
You're just making up names now.
William Villeneuve, Henry Thrun, Philippe Myers played 39 games, and that guy can't play. Like Chris Tanev played 11 games. They were ravaged by injuries.
How many did Stetcher play?
64.
Yeah.
And part of that would probably be in Edmonton, but
he was like their best defenseman for a stretch too, like legitimately.
They had nobody play on the back end. The only guys who actually played the whole year, pretty much, were Jake McCabe and Morgan Riley, and I guess OEL as well. But OEL missed a couple of games. But they had 3 defensemen play pretty much the whole year. Everybody else was dead.
I have to say that until the Vegas thing, the idea that they're not going to they don't have to do it all year. They just have to do it until Edmonton gets a coach and LA gets a coach. So they don't have to block him forever. It's bad PR for Vegas. Coaches around the NHL are probably not pleased about this, but from the point of view of being a ploy, I get it and I understand it. But from the Edmonton Oilers to check down from the possibility of Cassidy to Berube is stunning. And if you're evaluating them, maybe a little column A, a little column B, they're different styles of coaches. One has a very creative idea about how the puck should be. One plays defense as a something they want to be strong and rugged about, and the other doesn't want to play defense at all and make sure that they have possession and move the puck quickly. There's a difference, Donovan.
Oh, there absolutely is a difference for sure. It's just like this is going to come down to who do the Oilers think is the best fit if they can't get Cassidy. And I don't think there is a good fit in any of them, to be honest with you. It's who is the least bad fit. It's not Berube to me. He'd be my last candidate I would want. I don't think that is a guy who you can play with this forward group. I don't think you're going to find any level of success. I mean, if you watched the Toronto Maple Leafs last year, listen, I don't think Austin Matthews' shot looks the same since his wrist injury.
No, and that's fair. That is fair.
But he only had 27 goals last year. Granted, in 60 games. But, man, you look at the fall-off offensively of pretty much every player on that team. Like, man, Willie Nylander only had 30 goals. That's not a coach that I'm looking at and saying, let's sign me up here.
Well, the idea that if they're serious about Berube, nothing personal against Craig Berube, I just don't think he's the guy for this team. And if they're going to have Draisaitl and McDavid on one line, then you could do it because you'll have 3 checking lines. And that's what it'll look like.
Yeah, it was a little bit, it was similar to that, I guess you'd say, in St. Louis. In St. Louis, if you want to look back to his cup-winning team, he did have Jordan Binnington get hot, but he also had a lot of players that were capable of buying into his system. And
that means Connor McDavid will be taking own zone faceoffs, and his wingers will be, guys who are rugged and tough and, don't score a lot.
I think the guy you'd see taking D-zone faceoffs is Leon Draisaitl.
Well, that makes sense. Put Draisaitl with Podkolzin, and that's a good shutdown line. But let McDavid free.
He would let McDavid free. The reason he used Matthews as much in the D zone is because he thinks he's like Barkov Jr., but he's not Barkov Jr.
Because he's got too much offense.
Yes.
God, I have to say, this is the most discouraged I've been about this Edmonton. I thought, stupidly, they might go out and right now I'm wondering why they fired Knobloch. And I said it before. If you're going to fire Knobloch, you better get an upgrade.
But they wanted their cake and they wanted to eat it too. And that's like I think reading into the situation, I don't think they wanted to fire Chris Knobloch. I think they just wanted Bruce Cassidy. And if they couldn't get Cassidy, I think they wanted to bring back Knobloch. But now they might be kind of left without a musical chair here.
The Edmonton Oilers are a team in the National Hockey League. After that, I say nothing. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
May brings more of what you're looking for at Wolf GMC Buick. The selection, never better. The savings up to $12,000 when you combine cash discounts on your new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickup. Up to $1,750 in cash rebates on remaining 2025 Terrain SUVs. Plus 0% financing up to 72 months on most models. And ask about the truck trade-in bonus of up to $1,500 on select new in-stock Sierra 1500s.
Wolf GMC Buick, we're making it easy.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
When thirst strikes and your energy begins to fade, one hero rises above the rest. Introducing the Superpower Smoothie from Booster Juice. A bright sun-charged burst of mangoes, bananas, and blue spirulina. An out-of-this-world smoothie, just in time for the new Supergirl movie. Discover your power and channel your inner superhero. Fly into your local Booster Juice and experience it for yourself today. And see Supergirl. Only in theaters June 26th.
You see it? Fusion promo marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Diamond Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Mr. Rooter gets attacked by a Canada goose.
Oh, look at that. Another on-time arrival. Nothing stops Mr. Rooter from plumbing on schedule. You gotta be kidding me. Hello, Mr. Goose. I'm Mr. Rooter. Okay, this is what you train for. Through rain, sleet, or goose, the pipes get fixed.
For a plumber who does whatever it takes, Mr. Rooter.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next Nice Day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include Drought Fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. So much activity going on. We'll get to all of it. The roundtable edition of the Lowdown with Lowetide is underway. And so far, I've been the major disturber. That'll stop. Don't worry. We have Donovan. Rumors brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season, and Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has your next bike waiting for you. Huge selection of new and pre-owned, plus test rides available. Locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. A new Forbes article about the world's most profitable sports teams. Dallas Cowboys, $629 million. Golden State Warriors, 409. Some great numbers in here. Edmonton Oilers, by the way, are at $244 million. They're tied for third, along with the LA Rams. Interesting. Now, for the Oilers, this was a fascinating day. We read the Elliot Friedman tweet a minute ago, but it looks like, and there were a lot of people who thought that the meeting in between Bettman and Vegas today would give some kind of clarity in regard to Bruce Cassidy and his ability to interview with the Edmonton Oilers. Nothing came out of that. The penalty for the John Tortorella not talking to the media still stand, and so that's a draft pick and $100,000 for Tortorella, which is a lot of money, I think, for a coach.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, that's like Declan can afford it, but none of the rest of us can afford to pay that.
Well, also, so think about when John Tortorella was hired this season, right?
Yes.
So he wouldn't be getting, I don't know how because the salary cap works differently right, then I would assume a coaching salary works. Obviously, this coaching salary is not included in the salary cap.
No.
For those who don't know. So I would assume it would still be paid out as like there's an X amount of league days left. So I don't think John Tortorella would actually get like a full salary. I would assume you'd just get something prorated or whatever. But once again, I don't know the full situation there, but that was probably honestly maybe almost his entire salary because he only coached 8 games?
Which is a Tortorella move. I love the guy for entertainment value. I really do. Vancouver Canucks have fired Adam Foote. We don't have time to deal with it because the Canucks aren't real, but I just wanted to pass that along before we move on to other sporting news. I mean, are you surprised by that? I mean, that organization really does need to start again, right?
Yeah, I'm not surprised whatsoever. That was one of the most telegraphed moves of the offseason, I thought.
Yeah, it's, I don't think he was given, like that. The team is a wreck, Miller and Pettersson, they're still not over it. There's always a soap opera in that town, always. And they can't get out of it. They never can. And it begins with ownership, like everything else. And I mean, they'll try again, but they won't climb the mountain. I don't think the Canucks will ever in my lifetime win the Stanley Cup.
No, I don't think so either. I feel bad for Foote because, simply put, when you watch a coach go into a situation where he has no chance to succeed, it's not his fault. And I'm just disappointed that he didn't get a chance because I think he probably could have been a much better coach than you would have otherwise saw him.
So moving on to the NBA, I want to talk about what happened and then what is going to happen. We talked all year, and both of you gentlemen, Declan and Josh, talked about the winner of the West being the eventual champion. So we've got Cavs and Knicks and Spurs Thunder already having played a game. Spurs won, so are they the odds on to win the whole thing?
Well, like the thing is, I
still
think,
went to double overtime.
Yeah, like if OKC wins this series in 5, I don't think anyone's really going to be that surprised. Like they're just such a deep good team. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, what was his? It was like 6 for 23 from the field or something like that. Like barely had 20 points. I think didn't play great. They had kind of a hero game from Caruso, and they still needed double overtime. And the Spurs still needed double overtime. A 41-point performance from Victor Wembanyama and an all-time point performance from Dylan Harper just to win the game. So,
but they also didn't have De'Aaron Fox.
They didn't have De'Aaron Fox, but the thing about not having De'Aaron Fox is like, okay, now without De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper can shine. So, yeah, they're still firmly like OKC can still absolutely win the series.
Yeah, no one's saying he can't. 7 of 23, Shai, from the field, 8 of 9 from the line. They did not get a lot of whistles last night, OKC.
Has there ever been a soft 7-foot player in the NBA?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No doubt.
I would say Chet is kind of a soft 7-footer.
Yeah.
It's wild to see because you should be physically dominant.
I mean, you should be. I mean, like Shaq was what, 7'2", right? 7'1".
He's like 7'1".
Yeah. But he had a lot more weight to him. Just like the way that the game of basketball has changed now. Everyone wants more of an outside shot. They want guys who are more mobile. That's why guys like Wemby and Chet. Well, Wemby's a different circumstance because he's 7'5". You can only have so much weight on you. But like Chet's about the same height as Shaq was, and he just like
different player.
They focus more on ball handling now and outside skill rather than pure paint domination like they did back when Shaq was coming up.
And we assume the Cavs will win the other semi?
No,
I would say it's probably the Knicks.
I would say the Knicks in like 5.
So I would love to see the Knicks in the final. I know they wouldn't win, but I'd like just for the fact that the Knicks, like I think there are people who are adults who don't know what the Knicks jerseys look like.
It's such fool's gold for them to make the finals. It's like you're really third place at best.
You're a lamb being led to the slaughter, essentially. I wouldn't say it's Knicks in 5. I think maybe this would go on a little longer just because, man, like Jalen Brunson and Cat are such bad defenders. But again, like the story of this whole thing is that this Thunder Spurs series should go 7 games, and anything else is unacceptable.
They should really give the Larry O'Brien trophy out after this.
I saw your tweet.
Yeah, and I was right, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, man, like Wemby's defense last night was really good. I would be surprised if the Thunder won in 5.
Tomsker says that guy in My Giant was soft because his knees didn't work.
Who?
Chomsker says in My Giant the movie, right?
Oh.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Lowetide, can you repeat Elliot's tweet? I tuned in late. Sure. Let me just find it. Somebody talk while I do this.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday again, Victor Wembanyama. So he pulls up from, again, 28 feet. Now,
28 feet.
For those of you that don't remember, about 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, actually, this little guy named Steph Curry pulled up from about 35 feet to drain a three and beat the Thunder as well. Basically, same spot on the court, a couple feet further ahead for Wembanyama. But, Wemby is about 2 Steph Curry's tall. So that's what's insane about it. And it was silky smooth.
It was
I was trying to
like
think
nothing.
I was trying to think of like an NHL comparable because for this market, I obviously always love to put things in those terms. And I think like he's not the best offensive player in the NBA. I think everyone would agree with that, but he's like top 3 or 4. So my comparable was he's Nathan McKinnon with Nick Lidstrom. Like that's who he is as a basketball player.
That's a nice combo.
Would you say Nick Lidstrom is like the best defensive defenseman ever?
Oh,
I mean, that's
he's
obviously
right up there. I mean, he was more complete than defensive defenseman, but I know your point.
Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say for Wemby.
Yeah.
Like he's the best defender ever already, probably. Oh, and then by the way, he's like a top 4 offensive player in the world as well, maybe top 2 or 3.
It's really, so sick of ball.
It's really hard to compare Lidstrom to any modern defenseman because modern defensemen are moving the puck. Like Makar doesn't play defense because he doesn't have to.
He gets in there.
No, but he doesn't. He's moving the puck. They're possessing the puck.
People give him a lot more credit defensively than I think he's earned, to be honest.
Well, without the puck, he's not great defenseman, but very few are.
He just doesn't have to play without the puck because they always have it in the offensive zone.
Elliot Friedman tweeted, as for Bruce Cassidy, sources indicate that was not part of the conversation between Vegas and Bettman, and his status is unchanged as of this morning. Vegas is not inclined to give permission to Edmonton or LA. We will see about Toronto.
So for those of you just saying, oh, the Oilers can just wait it out.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. And probably get to a couple of other texts here. Maybe
Go ahead.
pro Berube text.
Okay.
Daryl, so are we trying to win the scoring race or the cup? Who cares if the points drop off?
Sure.
For the Oilers' top players.
Yeah.
Then we have Brody. Holy fellas, Berube won a Stanley Cup and was coaching a crappy team in Toronto. You're upset that he played number 34 in the defensive zone, but he's an excellent defensive player. He gave him more of a role and he couldn't thrive. So he's criticizing Matthews.
Well, his top line mate in 24-25 was Marner, and then it went to Ty Domi. That's
Max.
Not all. That's not all. Did I say Ty?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Max Domi. That's not all on Berube, but you would like to have found a better, like some kind of better option than that. Look, you may disagree. I do not think that I think the Edmonton Oilers will have a harder time signing McDavid if they are going to, basically everybody's going to be a plumber. Maybe I'm wrong. Last I heard, the Draisaitl and McDavid wanted to play together. I do not think any coach coming in would do that if he's interested in winning the Stanley Cup. That's a loser's bet. That said, I can see Berube doing that because it gives him control of the game when the second through fourth lines are open, and he could let the top line wheel. He could do that.
Yeah, I just don't think that any coach that's competent is going to look at that and go, hey, McDavid and Draisaitl, let's play together. This is our best chance at winning. I don't think that's the case. And I don't think Berube would do that either. I could see Berube doing if that is the hire, I could see him having Leon Draisaitl as his defensive zone guy.
Well, I think any coach should have Draisaitl, Podkolzin should be your top group. And you really do need to line match.
Yes.
Because I love the fourth line if it's going to have the crash and bang guys like Doc and Frederick on it. I think that the makings of a really solid fourth line are there, no matter who the coach is. But I don't want them out against McKinnon.
Yes,
you have to line match, and that's one of the things about this team that I think probably cost Knobloch his job.
Yep, I would agree. And I would say my thing with Berube is, for some guys, some people had the criticism of Chris Knobloch of he didn't know how to use certain players. Craig Berube, if you just look at his time in Toronto, he had no idea how to use Scott Laughton. He didn't understand what Scott Laughton was. And if you can't understand a guy like Scott Laughton, because Scott Laughton was brought in to play third line center for Toronto, if you remember back to the trade deadline of prior to last season. He was brought in with a year and a half left on his deal. He was brought in to play third line center. He never played third line center once. He was purely put on the fourth line and in kind of a winger / center role. Like, he didn't understand how to use the player. So to me, if you can't understand how to use a guy like Scott Laughton, I just don't know how you're going to understand how to use some of the Oilers guys that they currently employ.
I think that you make a great point there. You have, do you honestly think McDavid and Draisaitl will thrive under Berube and resign?
No.
Thank you. That's all I wanted.
I don't think they would thrive. There's a couple guys who I think would thrive if Berube is the coach. I think Podkolzin would thrive. I think a guy like, assuming they resign Kasperi Kapanen, I think he would probably thrive. You could point towards, maybe Trent Frederick finds his game again. I think Colton Dach would be good under him. But everybody else, like Matt Savoy, would be irrelevant.
But that, again, Ike Howard wouldn't play.
Ike Howard would not play.
No.
That'd be just traded immediately. The big difference, if you want to look at Bruce Cassidy versus Craig Berube, to me, is how he is the understanding of how to play players. Like, to me, I would look at Matt Savoy, and I don't know if that would be a player that Berube would value.
Do you think they could trade Savoy for a plumber? Maybe that would be something they do this summer? Well, no. I mean, if you're not going to play Savoy, you might as well move him.
Well, you would play him. I just don't know if you would understand how to use him.
But I don't.
I'm not saying Craig Berube's an idiot.
I just don't think it's his style.
It's not his style.
You are materially changing the style of the team if you bring Berube in. Fair?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right. So, like, Savoy has value.
Like,
you could get a good, two-way checking guy with some thump.
Like, what is to say? I mean, look at how I don't think Nick Robertson's a great player, but look at how Nick Robertson was deployed last year.
Yeah.
There was no understanding of what that player is to me.
No, and because it's square peg round hole.
Yes. It's small winger who doesn't hit anything, and he just kind of looks at that player and goes, "What the hell's the point of you?"
Right, and that happens when Miro Shatan was playing with the Oilers coach said, "Look, if he can't play in the third line, he can't play for us. If he can't check, can't play." Miro Shatan. Like I think there has to be a more creative coach on a creative team. Let's be honest, the Edmonton Oilers with McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard are a creative team.
Yeah.
And if you bring in a coach who, if you don't trust that they play hard enough and you want to bring a hard ass in, that's okay. Bring in Cassidy. But don't bring in somebody who really does want to crash and bang, stay in your lanes, up and down, and not necessarily overdo the creativity because danger lurks.
Yes.
Right.
Because Bruce Cassidy will allow east-west play. And the Oilers, if you watch the Oilers, they're not pure north-south.
No.
There's a lot of east-west. There's a lot of zigzagging. There's a lot of delaying.
And that's where the offense comes
from. Yes,
from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's creativity. Bruce Cassidy will allow that. If you've watched him coach the Vegas Golden Knights, you watched him coach Jack Eichel, that's a superstar level player. You can tell that there would be some translating between the Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights rosters. Whereas you watch the way that Craig Berube's handled his star players in Toronto, and it is a guy who wants to coach north-south and pure and simple north-south, back to basics, back to the fundamentals, back to, what your coaches tell you in Pee Wee. And when you're coaching Connor McDavid, it's just not going to work. You can't just be north-south.
Well, it'll work for a year and then it'll ask out. All right. More of this on the way. We're also going to talk about the NBA. The Elks they're matriculating. We're going to find out how Fajardo looked out there on the weekend. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
May brings more of what you're looking for at Wolf GMC Buick. The selection, never better. The savings up to $12,000 when you combine cash discounts on your new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickup. Up to $1,750 in cash rebates on remaining 2025 Terrain SUVs. Plus 0% financing up to 72 months on most models. And ask about the truck trade-in bonus of up to $1,500 on select new in-stock Sierra 1500s.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Hey, it's Jamie from Green Drop Lawn Care. You've known and trusted us as Canada's lawn expert since 1979. In all that time, the only thing we've loved to watch grow and flourish more than your lawn is our community. You've given us so much over the years, and we love to give back. Our community events crew is on the streets, at the festivals, and helping grow great causes and charities across the city. We love knowing your lawn is taken care of, and we'll help take care of the community too. Visit greendrop.com, and we'll see you out there.
Are you overwhelmed by debt and getting nonstop calls from creditors? It can feel like there's no escape. Debt doesn't have to be a life sentence. A single call can turn things around. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO right here in Edmonton. I can help you become debt-free with a solution just for you. Let's put an end to those calls from creditors together. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge May savings at wolfgmcbuick.com. Getting Declan all angry here by my choices for replacement for Chris Knobloch should Cassidy not come through. By the way, we'll talk to Jason Krueger, get his input. The rational voice of the radio station, Jason Krueger, coming up at 1:20 today. Did you have a nice day off? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, I had a nice day off. I went to the driving range yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I hit a few balls before watching Game 7, and yeah, that's pretty much about all I did. But
I have to say that the Montreal Canadiens are like your basic nightmare for me. Bruins fan as a kid, Ken Dryden ruined my childhood. Patrick Waugh in '93. And, people keep saying that the kid they got in there now, he's not Dryden and he's not Waugh. Well, he's through 2 rounds and he's won 2 Game 7s on the road. And I'm not saying he's going to have a Hall of Fame career. I am saying the Montreal Canadiens have done this with great goalies and with just, ordinary goalies. And it feels to me like the Montreal Canadiens did it right. Remember in 2015 when the Oilers drafted Connor McDavid, and then an hour later they traded, I think it was 16 and 33 for Griffin Reinhart. And then they traded most of the deepest draft of our lifetime, 2015, in order to get good in a hurry. Cam Talbot, Eric Greiba, a bunch of guys came over. They were veterans, but they also had cap numbers, and it meant that the Oilers didn't have a lot of room in free agency, even from the beginning. By the time they signed Lucic and then Chris Russell, in the following years, they didn't have any cap money available, and then, of course, the pandemic hit. But in that first hour, after Connor McDavid was drafted, trading away those two picks basically broke the wand for the Edmonton Oilers. They had Craig McTavish had traded for picks. Peter Chiarelli traded that and more away. And they were better. They didn't make the playoffs that year. As you recall, McDavid got hurt, but the following year they did. And Talbot played very well. But the impatience not displayed by the Montreal Canadiens over these years have them in a much better position, not just for this year, but for the years to come. Now, you can't go back and do it all over again. But we may be as few as 2 years away from what would look like, if not a rebuild, a reset. And I think that the Edmonton Oilers will have wasted the biggest opportunity any team had in this generation to win multiple Stanley Cups, and they may have already done that. And I certainly think the choice of coach moving forward is their last chance, Texaco. Just my opinion. Do you agree?
I agree for what it's worth.
It's hard to not agree.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, and you, sir, you and I don't agree on everything. I think that's fairly certain, chuckles and laughter, but it's true. You said to me not long ago that Craig Berube isn't the best at, finding young talent and making them better. And I said to you, what? I'm going to talk to you about Jay Woodcroft. When Jay Woodcroft got here, he doubled the defensive group because he had the Bakersfield Condors that he knew, including Vincent Desharnais, who wasn't going to make the NHL unless he came up, unless Knobloch was hired. And he brought up Broberg, he brought up Marcus Niedermayer. Not everybody worked out, but he brought up players, brought up Stuart Skinner. He increased the talent base just because he recalled players and played them. And I think that since then, the Oilers have gone away from that, and they've reduced the amount, the player pool that they have, the talent pool they have, because they haven't used Bakersfield as much. And I think they'd use it less under Berube. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think they'd use it less under Berube.
So before I slam my foot down and say that Jay Woodcroft should be the next coach, I need a name that you would prefer.
Over Jay Woodcroft, I just don't like any of the coaches available, to be honest.
Thank you. And that's why Chris Knobloch's firing was an interesting move and maybe something that we talk about for a long time.
Like, I might have to say Peter Laviolette. I don't like Peter Laviolette.
Well, I'm not thrilled, but I think he'd be like a guy who the problem is that I think the game might have passed him by a little bit.
I think the game has passed him by. That's my opinion on him.
Yeah.
But if you're to give me like a list of candidates to look at, I'd rather have, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bruce Boudreau.
Well, I like Bruce.
Not because he's a great coach.
Could we bring back Filthy Bruce? And
yes.
That meme where he says darn?
That would be fun.
Darn? Okay.
Exactly. That would be fun. I would enjoy that. Not necessarily because he's the best coach available, but I like Bruce Boudreau. I think Dean Evason's actually an okay coach, but I think that's a guy who really, really wears out his welcome.
Ownership might like that. In all honesty, I think that part of what's maddening the owners right now is that they didn't win, all these times. And I think that at some level, these last two coaches that they had, I really thought Knobloch was going to get it done. And him getting fired, I get it. I understand. They're upset. They're disappointed. But now, and I mean, there were things he did not do. But now you really are in the soup. Declan, solve this riddle for us. Neither of us can come up with a suitable coach to replace Knobloch if it isn't Cassidy. Who do you like? Is there anybody out there that you would say?
Yeah. Well, excuse me. Who? I just took like the biggest swallow of air there. I don't even know what that was. When we did our declinations on Friday, my number one, and it was, a distant number one from Bruce Cassidy, but it was Peter Laviolette. So that would be the name that my mind kind of trickles to. I'm not like, I just think the Oilers want a proven head coach, right? Like they want somebody with experience. They want someone who can be a little tougher on these guys. I'm not out on some of these assistants out there. Like I talked about Jeff Halpert and Nolan Pratt. They were two guys I had very high on my list. But I do think Peter Laviolette is, again, and it's a check down, right? Like it feels like Bruce Cassidy is kind of sitting in a tier of his own, not just in terms of fit, but also in terms of kind of desire for the Oilers, for lack of a better word. Then it seems like there's a significant gap, and I did have Peter Laviolette second. So yeah, I would agree with Donovan that if it's not Bruce Cassidy, that's probably where my mind goes.
Josh, what about Sutter?
Hey, you know what? Get him off the farm. I think that'd be hilarious. No, like I'm sorry. They have put themselves in an awful spot here.
Do they have to? I'm asking you this, Josh.
Sure.
I need an answer from you. I know you are well equipped to give me the best answer.
Sure.
Are they going to have to go pay a draft pick or some money to get Vegas to let loose the coach? Like, are they going to have to do a deal?
Do you think are you asking me right now if they trade for Bruce Cassidy?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I think the firing of Knobloch has them, and actually I'll give credit here. Who is on my blog right now, who's basically saying, spoiler, is saying that they put themselves into, they've
worked themselves into a corner here.
Yeah.
Tell you what, you don't believe that Ike Howard's going to play under Bruce Cassidy? We'll give you Ike Howard. You give us Bruce Cassidy. How's that sound?
I thought you were my friend. But is that possible? Is that what's going to, like, Vegas is just like, pay us, give us a draft pick.
It's happened in sports before.
We lost our second. Give us your second, and then we'll do it. I could see that happening, and this town
and $100,000 to pay for Torts'
and stock our Coke machine so the players don't have to pay for it.
I don't want my I don't want my guys.
Moneyball reference. I think it's possible for sure. I don't know if the actual legitimacy of that happening are.
What's the old line about poker? If you're playing a poker game and you can't find the weak link, it's you.
If you can't find the crazy person on the bus, you're the crazy person.
No.
Wait, how's that applicable to this?
The Edmonton Oilers, if they had not fired their coach, they could still be just, waiting for opportunities.
But they really thought they had a guy, to be fair to them.
Whoever leaked to Frank Saravalli did a hell of a job.
I mean, they're helping the Athletic pay for the next however long until
the longer this goes, the more I feel like it was definitely Cassidy's team, and because coaches have agents, right?
But how does this benefit Cassidy? He can't get an interview
because he can't get an interview. If he knows he's going to be shut down the whole year, the guy wants to coach. That's the only way he was going to be able to coach. Is if it causes enough of a bleep storm in the media.
And yet it didn't. The NHL apparently didn't do anything about it today.
So, right? So, like, that was the only chance he had was.
So now you've checked down to, I'll give you a second round pick.
Maybe. I don't know. This is going to tell us a lot about what the Oilers truly think about their prospects in the coaching department.
See, I understand why Vegas would be hesitant to let Edmonton talk to this guy because I think he is clearly the best candidate available.
Yes. Oh, by a mile.
It's like the second best coach in the NHL, basically, behind John Cooper.
I think he's third.
Sure, man.
Who do you like better?
Marty St. Louis.
No. Well, for me, it's John Cooper's I think the best coach in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to give some respect to the gentleman out in Florida there.
Oh, Paul Maurice.
Paul Maurice is
Paul Maurice is still not 40.
Wow.
Okay.
Looks terrible, though.
All right. Coming up next hour, we're going to talk a little bit more about Elks, a little NBA. We will, of course, talk about the Oilers as we've done all day. And Jason Gregor will join us at 1:20. Declinations we haven't talked about today, and I do apologize. Are we doing MMA?
We are, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of MMA stuff this past weekend.
Is there any boxing going on at all, or
there has been some recently? Like there were some really big fights the past couple weeks, but we've talked about those.
Okay.
Inoue,
Right.
Daniel Dubois.
All right. All right, that's all on the way. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Elks Nation. For the best Elks coverage year-round with podcasts and articles, go to elksnation.ca. Player interviews, game analysis, and more. The best green and gold coverage online, elksnation.ca. News from around the sporting world as the NHL has denied the Golden Knights' appeal to get their draft pick punishment reduced following their lack of media avail. And John Tortorella was fined. Two-time champion Carlos Alcaraz says he will miss Wimbledon because of a lingering wrist injury that is also keeping him out of Roland Garros. And Columbus Blue Jackets captain Boone Jenner has changed agents as free agency years. In the NBA tonight, just the one game, Cleveland and New York in game one of the Eastern Conference Finals, 6 p.m. tip for that. And in the MLB world, action will get going at 2:10 with the Braves and the Marlins, Orioles and Rays, Reds and Phillies, Guardians and Tigers all up at 4:40. And then the Blue Jays will be in New York to take on the Yankees at 5:05. Dylan Cease on the mound in that one. And you can hear that on Sports 1440 AM dial only. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, Stingray Radio Station, CHJR, broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Hear that? That's your entry calling. Go Auto is sending you to the biggest football event in the world, live in Vancouver, with tickets, flights, and a hotel stay for two. To enter the contest, just text GAME to 780-777-7777. That's GAME to 780 all sevens. Go Auto, get in the game.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
It's the final weekend of the Brick's famous tent sale. Take up to 70% off clearance items in the tent and in-store. Overstock, scratch, and dent, and unadvertised in-store specials in every department. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. And score a bonus Bluetooth party speaker with a qualifying purchase. You could get a sofa, coffee table, mattress, bed frame, and a dining set, all for less than $1,500. Only at the Brick's tent sale. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next Nice Day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include Drought Fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. wolfgmcbuick.com.
It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge mate savings on new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickups and all remaining 2025 terrain SUVs. WolfGMCBuick.com. Lots of great texts coming in at 833-401-1440. Couldn't Cassidy just cancel his contract? Is that possible? Well, he's under contract. He was relieved of his duties. But Vegas Golden Knights, as far as we know, can hold on to his the ability for him to interview while they are paying him and while he is still, in their employ. They are paying him. The reason that it is unusual is it rarely happens. The Vegas Golden Knights may, in fact, be hurting their future opportunities to hire people. But the Vegas Golden Knights operate under a different kind of idea. Their owner has done, and I mean, I think we can agree on this, done everything possible to win the Stanley Cup, and they have won the Stanley Cup. And I think as a fan of Vegas Golden Knights, which I am not, I think that you have to appreciate that. And if they're a little bit outsider, well, that kind of appeals to some people anyway. So for me, I was just enchanted with the idea. I didn't allow for the possibility that Cassidy would come here because I didn't think the Oilers would be interested in him. But when I found out that there was some interest, or at least the reporting of some interest, I was like, oh my God. Because they've had chances to hire coaches in the past who I think would have come here and done a really good job, but they haven't done it. And this would have been, I think, the last chance Texaco. If it goes by the wayside, then I think it's a huge opportunity missed. And clearly Vegas, for whatever reason, correctly understands that Cassidy would do a lot with this roster. And I think that's the story.
So for those of you saying, can't he just terminate his contract? That would have to be a mutual termination.
Well, and also they're paying him. So
the Vegas Golden Knights would have to agree.
Yeah. But
right?
he'll be free next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then an NHL coach, from a brief read, you can't just say, no, I opt out of this contract.
Lokesh says Bednar. Bednar getting some love as well.
Bednar's a good coach. Yeah, I think the other three are better. Gerard Gallant, some people are asking, would you consider Gerard Gallant?
I had him on my list as well.
I like Sutter. Nobody else will say the name Sutter, but I will.
Hey, I like the name Sutter. I thought about putting him on my list last week.
Other names out here that people are asking you about are Todd Nelson, a reunion there.
I like Todd Nelson. Todd Nelson had Anton Lander playing well. I didn't have great foot speed, but he played well.
Dave Haxtell. I'm not a fan personally.
It felt a little vanilla.
Yeah, I would agree there. Yeah. I would agree there. David Carl is the other name on the table.
I've read about him. I don't know enough, and I don't think they'll go with an inexperienced guy. They went with 2 in a row here.
I'd be stunned.
Yeah,
if they went there.
I think they want an NHL coach, and preferably one who's won a Stanley. Although Gregor says, winning a Stanley in 2 different cities is rare. How old is Scotty Bowman?
Give me a second.
I'm just asking because I would trust Scotty Bowman. And I think
92 years old.
Yeah. So, and I think Stan knows his number. Right? I bet you their relationship is such that if Stan called Scotty go, my son's calling me. I know I do that because my kids never call me and they never answer the phone when I call them.
You live in the same house as them.
They don't call me. They just, if I call them, they don't answer. Sometimes they'll call me back.
Never mind.
We go out to the house, sometimes. It's not
I'm aware. I'm aware. You don't have a landline?
I do have a landline.
Why don't you call that?
I don't want to.
All right, then.
They have their phones.
Yeah, but if they're not answering their phones and it's something terrible, why don't you just call the landline?
Matt says, I think this summer is going to determine Daryl Cates' legacy as an owner in this town. He's either the guy who brought a Stanley Cup to Edmonton or the guy who absolutely wasted McDavid's career. I think we already know who Daryl Cates is. He's been owner of the team since 2008, for crying out loud. The tendencies of Daryl Cates, the goods and the bads of Daryl Cates, if you take a piece of foolscap and you put a big line right in the middle of it and you go positives and negatives, we can do that now. You don't have to wait for it. He spends to the cap. He absolutely does. As far as I know, he has done, a lot of work on getting the procurement department up to snuff. I think they don't draft much, but their 3 picks that they had last year, the first 3, they all are matriculating very well. They've got some players there, and I know they drafted them outside the first round, but those guys are playing really, really well. So they've got some really good things. Now, having said that, not perfect. And one of the things that happens with owners is interference. The last one, in my opinion, I don't have proof of this, but in my opinion, was bringing Paul Coffey in, and it was the right move. I just disagree with the idea that the owner has hands-on during the year with the GM and the coach. I think that's a bad idea. But in this particular case, they needed to bring Coffey in. Their outlets were so bad. And that brings me to Paul Coffey. There's no chance he'd be the head coach. Right?
I'm not going to say never say never. Is that weird to say? Like, I don't think he wants to be.
I don't think he wants to be the coach, and he's like in The Godfather. They keep pulling me back.
But
I'll say never.
He loves the idea of the front office too much.
Yes, but I think he's shown his loyalty to the organization and to the fact that he wants this team to win.
But I just think at some point he feels like he's been doing them favors, and he maybe wants a little in return in the form of that, front office job that he kind of desires.
Well, just say to him, it's nothing personal. It's just business. You have to be the head coach.
Paul, we didn't want to do it, but you have to be the head coach.
The coaches out there are so not the right fit to me that I'd be shocked if Paul Coffey was the head coach. But, would he be the worst option?
I don't think he would.
I think he might be one of the better, to be honest.
Well, I mean, he knows the defense, and he believes in the outlet pass, and he believes in his defensemen, and it makes it. They're better with Paul Coffey. The defense is.
I would agree, and I would say, what's stopping this team coached by Paul Coffey from actually being better than? I think they'd be better with him than they would be Craig Berube.
All right, you call the owners. I'll pretend I have nothing to do with it. I don't know.
But the real question there would be, would he be willing to do it? And I think the answer is probably not.
Well, you know what? And I think it's pretty clear based on reports, he's just hesitant. He doesn't really want to do it, but he does do it. I think Declan made a great point. He's probably waiting for something that has been promised or implied,
Yeah, maybe.
Another big thing with Paul Coffey or players of yesteryear is you look at the money now in the NHL, and Paul Coffey, respectfully, I'm not even trying to say this to dog Bouchard. You could say this about any NHL defenseman in the world, but he's coaching guys that couldn't hold his jock for who he was as a player, and he wasn't financially compensated in that era the way he probably wanted to be. There's probably a little bit of sour grapes there that he wants to capitalize and maximize the absolute fullest dollar amount he can, and I think he feels like he does that probably with some safety and security as president of hockey ops.
That's a great point. And I don't know how long Jackson has, to be honest with you. Would Craig McTavish be an option? Well, he would for me. I love Mac T. Mac T line matched in the anthem. During the anthem, he had people moving around. I'm telling you. No, I think I'm one of about 5 people who still believe McTavish could come back and coach this team well. And Mac T's probably one of the other ones, but I think he could do it. He's wicked smart, and he has stayed in touch with the game. I don't know if you watch the between period stuff with him and Bob, but it's good.
I do.
Yeah.
Do I tune it out a lot?
Yeah, but you don't like people.
Yeah, that is true. It has nothing to do with Mac T. I just, you know, when I see Bob's face, sometimes I
You
just
get sad.
tune out.
Wow.
No disrespect, Bob. Just, you know, your competition.
Oh, I love competition. It makes us all better.
It does make us all better, but
yeah.
you
I
know.
especially like that he keeps changing times he's on. It's very helpful to me. Add me to the list of 5 LT from EG. Yeah. Well, I will tell you the Berube hire for this team isn't the right team isn't there. But you make a few trades and you could have a top line of McDavid, Draisaitl, and whomever, and then 9 plumbers. You could have that by the fall. You'd have to trade Savoy and a few other guys, but you could do it. It's not out of the realm of possibility that you could create this team in Berube's image.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm. It's just what would be the players you acquire.
Well, they'll all be tough and big and play a particular way.
I can tell you wouldn't get Ivan Barbashev from the Vegas Golden Knights.
No.
That's a player that Berube loves.
No. I'm teasing, but I think that some of the players that have been acquired for this team by the general manager would not fit. And that would be, I would say it would be 1 full year of Berube making this team what he wants it to be. And now you've wasted another year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's probably a pretty astute point by you, but man, we won't know till we know who the next head coach of the Oilers is going to be, and frankly, I'm a little worried.
Yeah, I think that's fair. By the way, how was Elks practice on the weekend? I know that you went out there, Declan. How's everybody look? Were they playing scrimmages with pads on?
Yeah, they had their scrimmage on Sunday, full game situations with the installs they've been working, but free play calling. Offense didn't look great. Cody said as much. He talked about it after practice, said, hey, yeah, we looked bad. We wouldn't get a passing grade, mistakes everywhere, myself included. And he was right. The second unit, the one with Taylor Powell, they were the ones who were able to move the ball, probably the best down the field. It didn't look great. It's still camp. They're working some things out. Defense always gets off to a better start than offense because offense, you know, you got to put plays in. You got to put those installs I talked about. Like, there's just so much more that goes into it, where defense is just a little bit more of a limited scope in terms of the playbook. And it's kind of just like, hey, go make a play. So it makes sense the defense would look better. I'm not going to say it's cause for concern how the offense looked and Cody's reaction to it, but it's definitely cause for note.
So you and I are in the movie about Watergate. You remember that movie?
All the President's Men?
Yeah. And we're in the Washington Post newsroom meeting room, and you are pitching ideas for the front page of the sports section. And I'm asking you, is Fajardo under pressure, and could that be a story we could write?
Yeah, like I think everyone's under pressure, and obviously when you're the starting quarterback, that falls on you as well. I think it's like it's almost a little unfair to Cody, because I do think he came in and turned things around for the Elks last year. But it's also like, yeah, you haven't had a winning record since 2017. You haven't made the playoffs since 2019. There's been a lot that's gone into this, from like the president telling fans to kick rocks to a name change that people didn't appreciate. Like, there's been a lot that's kind of stacked on top of each other, and you're the starting quarterback. So yeah, even if it's a little unfair to you, because you've only been here for 2 years now, and everything that's kind of been surrounding the Elks that you didn't have a part of, it still falls on you because you're the starting quarterback. Like, it's going to fall on the first line center. It's going to fall on the starting point guard. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's not fair, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And you're still writing for Elks Nation?
Oh yeah. I should have an article coming out today, actually, which is a training camp recap.
Are we getting more eyes on that, more eyeballs on it? Because it's a fairly new enterprise, and I think it's really good. I mean, I think fans would really appreciate it if they go there.
No idea what the numbers are.
Okay.
Could be 0, could be a lot. I don't know. But I love doing it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'm not really a writer, but I just kind of like have fun with it. I write a little more conversationally. You know what I mean? Like, I think if people read you, they're like, whoa, hey, is this a novelist? If they read me, it's like, hey, we're having a chat at the bar stool.
But my point is, if you are a published writer, then you are, in fact, a writer.
Well, the whole reason I want to write essentially is so I can start voting on the CFL awards. Like, you have to be a writer to be a part of the CFL writers where you can vote on the awards. Yeah.
Right. I was going to do, but then Peter Lisk retired and I didn't have any reason to be a voter. All right. It's 1:16 on the way. Our friend Jason Krueger will make sense of this coaching situation, and we can't wait for it. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. We're back after this.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience.
Spurs got numbers hungry now behind the plate. 5-on-4. Wemby's going to pull a deep three. Oh my goodness. A logo shot. 28-footer. Ties it at 108. Well, Montreal's going to work it out. Carrier ahead. Over the line comes Newhook. Shooting. Scores. Alex Newhook. Away. And Montreal is going to play Carolina in the Eastern Conference Final. Inning for the first time. There's a fly ball, center field. That's hit well. Bolte is back near the wall. It's gone. Unbelievable. What a finish. Zach Neto says goodnight to the A's. And JT Ginn walks it off with a home run.
GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Huge May savings going on. Beautiful day after a very, very nice weekend. Enjoyed it very much. Hope you did as well. Our headliner of the day is Jason Krueger today. And we say hello to Jason. How are you, sir?
I'm good, buddy. You?
Good. I had a wonderful weekend. I did lots. I got out. I watched 10,000 dogs going for walks. It was just awesome. What about you? You get out and about and enjoy yourself?
Oh, yeah, did lots. Went to the batting cages, had a big bike tour, played some catch and baseball outside, multiple walks. Yeah, it was great. Lots of fun. So just my son and I.
So we come back to NHL stuff, and we know that Vegas's penalties of the draft pick and the fine for the coach are still there, and Vegas has still not given Edmonton or LA or Toronto, as we know it, an opportunity to talk to Coach Cassidy. Do you think this might result in some kind of, it can't get to a trade or anything, can it?
I'm not sure how that works. Do you trade just to give somebody the right to talk to a coach?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the NHL wants to set that precedent, right? I think the NHL legally in your contract, depending on the verbiage of your contract, it'll say that, you know what, usually it's, one party reserves the right, and it's usually the team to to release the guy, blah, 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 basically saying the guy can't just leave if he wants to, right? And I'm wondering, though, like if nothing changes and Bruce Cassidy misses this hiring cycle, which now has 4 teams in it, that what will happen for future coaches' contracts is you'll have some coaches say, hey, if I'm relieved of my head coaching duties, I will still have the opportunity to interview for other head coaching jobs, right? Like I'm sure that'll be something that puts in there in the legalese, but I'm not sure, like from a legal standpoint, if Cassidy really has a leg to stand on. He's still getting paid, right? Like they're not limiting his ability to make money. And that's probably what the argument would be. Say, so hey, wait a sec, you're complaining that you get to not work and still get paid? It's kind of hard. So I think, now maybe Vegas has a change of heart. Something tells me they won't. So, you're the Edmonton Oilers. Now the Oilers don't have to hire a coach tomorrow, right? I think a lot of people are jumping. They don't you don't really need a coach until the draft, honestly. And even then, the coach has no say in the draft. Like, why would he? He hasn't watched any of these players. So, you want your coach in place usually for that, but more so because the draft now is so close to free agency and really what I like to call the summer trade window. And that's where you'd want your coach involved. So, he has some say in, hey, do you like this guy? No, I don't like that guy. This is why I've coached him here. I had him here, whatever, right? So that's where I think you need. But you don't need a coach on May 18th or 19th or June 1st. So the Oilers don't have to rush into this by any stretch.
The name out there today is Craig Berube, who will reportedly get an interview, and of course that's the beginning of the process. And as you say, we're miles from the team needing to hire a coach. Berube has won a Stanley Cup in 2019 with St. Louis Blues, so that checks off that box. And he had a good year in Toronto, and then a tough year in Toronto. Everybody had a tough year in Toronto, but he's a he's a coach who does qualify for some of the criteria that we believe we know. Is that a player, a coach who you think could come in and coach this style of team and this group of players?
Well, I've seen a lot of people and they're, look what Craig Berube did to Austin Matthews. He played more minutes against top players, right? Like that's the argument against Craig Berube. And he's like, and his production went down. I'm like, okay, but why do you only use one player who was injured? Why don't you use William Nylander? Because you know who had the highest points per game of his career last year? William Nylander. Now, he played the third highest, I think it was, percentage of minutes played against the league. And like, to me, whether it's 38 or 42, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
We're really starting to argue over crap that doesn't matter as much as people like to claim it does. Craig Berube is the one who demands it, like, oh my God, he wanted his best players to play against the other team's best players. And by the way, go look at Austin Matthews. The year he played 42% of his minutes, Al. He had 41 goals in 52 games. Another year he played 40% of his minutes and he had 69. So, you know what? He's produced very well when he played a lot of minutes against best players because every other team wants to play you against your best players. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. That to me just seems like a pretty hollow argument. Now, you don't want Craig Berube because his team didn't have success. All right. I just think coaching at times, you need good players. Mitch Marner leaves. Austin Matthews hurt. Your defense isn't good. Your goalies are hurt. Oh, shocking. Your team wasn't that good. So, yeah, I think Craig Berube would come in here. He's a straight shooter. He's hard-nosed. Is it a little bit of a recycle? Yes. And that's always going to be the question mark, right? So, like, it's funny. Bruce Cassidy gets fired from his team. They go on a great run, and everybody still loves Bruce Cassidy because he's available. Well, Craig Berube's team didn't make the playoffs, even though they basically had the same amount of points as Bruce Cassidy's team, and he's terrible. Well, pick a side. Which one is it?
The one thing that I think we can all agree on is that they're going to get somebody with experience, right? Like they went Woodcroft and then they went Knobloch. So a guy like David Carl, I don't think is I'm sure he's a great coach, but they're probably looking for somebody who can step in and guide this team right from the get-go and has had NHL success before.
You honestly think Dave Carl would leave Denver to come to Edmonton? Like, he is in a fantastic position where it's stable. And right now, Edmonton doesn't look stable. I think we have to call a spade a spade. Mm-hmm. Now, Edmonton's very exciting for coaches who don't have a job because they want to get a job. But if I'm in Denver, my family's happy, I'm making really good money, I have a say in everything, my stress is probably lower. Why do I want now? Maybe it's a challenge, sure. But is it the right challenge? Like Edmonton right now, I'm sorry. Yes, they got McDavid, but for how long do they have McDavid? I have no idea. It might be 2 years. It might be 1 year. It might be 10 years. I honestly, no one can say with certainty what it is. But here's the truth about Edmonton. They go through coaches very quickly. Coaches and goalies have the biggest target. They get the vast majority of the blame. So if I'm Carl, I might look at it and be like, oh, I'm humbled and honored, but I love my time in Colorado. Now I talk to my wife and everything else like that. There'd be other conversations, but I'm not sure he's the guy. I think you probably got to look at coaches elsewhere. And I looked at the American League. There's not a ton of coaches with NHL experience at the American League. There's a long list of guys who are currently assistant coaches who have been NHL coaches before, right? We could go to Dave Haxall. We can go to Claude Julien. You can go to Todd Richards. There's a laundry list of them. There's like 15. I looked at it. I have it in my article today in Oilers Nation, and I just don't have it in front of me. But, there's a lot of them. If they wanted to, I think Edmonton is like, it's still, trust me, people will want the job, Al. Like I'm sure Stan Bowman's had a lot of people reach out to him, right? Like Peter Laviolette, if he hasn't been interviewed, I think he's going to be interviewed for certain. Why wouldn't you, right? He was on the NHL Network saying, hey, I had a year off. It's rejuvenated me. And there's a guy who has some pretty good success, Al. He won a cup.
Yep.
And then he's lost multiple cups. He has experience. If that's what they need. And I agree with you that, their previous guys didn't have NHL experience, so they might go. But Stan Bowman didn't hire those guys, although he did re-sign Chris Knobloch to an extension, right? So Edmonton's got to find a coach who they're going to instill some power to. Because if the players continue to have all the power and the minute something goes wrong, it's a coach's fault, that's not going to be a recipe for success.
Do you, and I don't know the answer to this, but I look at a guy like Laviolette. I remember when he came into the league as the head coach, it was 2001-02. He had been an assistant with Boston, and then he got a job with the Islanders. And like that's 26 years of coaching. Is there a time when their best before date is past, or do you think he coached recently, 24-25, so it's not like he's completely away from the game and unaware of rule changes and the players in the game. But is there a period of time where the coach becomes he's 61? Is that a worry, or do you not even look at that?
Well, it's funny you ask that question, Al, because I just read a book recently and it talked about as we get older, like the truth of the matter is there's certain things that we just can't do like we did in our 20s and 30s, right? Some of it, might be quick recollection on certain things, and that slowly changes. But you gain more wisdom in other things. And so I was looking at Laviolette, and you're right with the Islanders. He lost in the first round both years, and he got fired. Then he went to Carolina, joined that team 50 games into the season. They were 30 games in, and then he coached the last 50. They missed the playoffs. And there's a lockout. Then he wins the cup in really like his first full year in Carolina, wins the cup. Then he misses the playoffs the next 2 years. So he missed the playoffs in 3 of his first 6 seasons coaching. Since then, he's only missed the playoffs 3 times, right? Like, so he's got a pretty good track record of success. He's changed his skates. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you remember, Al. He used to have like those old, just no flexibility skates. So he's even adapting his skates. I would think he would adapt. I would think he would need some younger coaches with him. Like he's going to have a certain area of expertise. His penalty kill coach, who's going to be his defense coach. How's that going to work? But I would think like his understanding of the game shouldn't change all of a sudden, right? Like you look at Joel Quenneville. Everybody raved about what Quenneville's done to a very young Anaheim team, and Quenneville's older than Laviolette. So no, I don't think there should be a best before date unless the results show you that he's just kind of he can't relate to the players anymore. But if you look at most coaches in the NHL today, Al, are like a generation older. They're all like dads, if not older, of their players.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think it would be that big of an issue.
We talked, Jason, a week ago, and even before then, about when they fired Knobloch. It puts you in a position where it is possible that you don't get your guy, and then you might, regret the move. And I'm not suggesting they are there now, but I think it's fair to revisit that conversation and talk about, what is available. And this is a team that it isn't a bunch of, two-way guys. There's some offensive creativity on this roster, and you can stifle it pretty quickly if you get the wrong guy. Is it possible that we're looking a year from now and going, man, maybe moving Knobloch out was a kind of a hurried move?
Oh, very possible. I had a conversation with two different people over the weekend, Alan. I kind of got the sense that, how it went down, they didn't like, getting that they were, trying to get conversations with Cassidy. But I was under the understanding that people thought that, once McDavid had said what he'd said publicly about their coach and Draisaitl, that the coach wasn't coming back. And if that's true, now, and I don't really know if I believe that per se or not, because the one thing about, men overall, if you look at it, guys can get mad at each other, their buddies can have it out, bleep you. Sometimes you've even had a fist fight with friends, and they move on, right? They patch up, hey, okay, you know what, and you're good. Now, not every case, but there's lots of cases of it. Whereas, sometimes you get in an argument with a girlfriend, and you're never like, done, bridge is broken, we're never coming back, right? But guys can sometimes repair that. So I don't know if because McDavid once said, hey, our coaching needs to be better, we need to be better. Well, but it was true. The coach didn't have a great year, but that doesn't mean he couldn't have a good year again. Right. So I think it is a valid question to wonder if they overreacted. And because, and that's why I said off the start, I do think and I wrote the article 3 days after the season. I said, people, now is not the time to overreact. And I think firing the coach was a little bit of an overreaction.
Is there, and I'm just doing this because somebody asked me to ask you, is there any possibility a former Oilers coach would coach this team moving forward starting next fall?
Yeah. I know, Al, you're in love with you. There's a lot of revisionist history on Jay Woodcroft, it seems, right now. But you know what? It's a funny thing in Edmonton. Oiler fans and some they love bringing back. My God, how many former Oilers have people thought, oh, we should bring him back? God, I'd love to have him back. Like, no, if I'm Jay Woodcroft, would I come back to Edmonton? I don't think so. I don't think he loved how he was let go. So I'm not. I think it's a mutual disagreement between the two sides at the end. Like Woodcroft, he obviously didn't want to get fired, and when he did, I don't think he liked how it went down. The same core players are here. He walks back in the room, and they're like, "What? We already know this guy." So I don't think so. Todd Nelson might have a better chance because he was only there for 50 games,
right?
And it was during a very tumultuous time. But even then, for whatever reason, Todd can't get a head coaching job. It kind of blows my mind considering his track record at every level. Now he's being an assistant coach, and I think he's almost accepted that he won't be an NHL head coach. So he's just going to take an assistant coaching job because he gets paid more as an assistant in the NHL usually than you do as a head coach in the American League. So I think that's kind of where Todd's at. So I don't see it, right? I don't like. There's got to be a difference that's being here before. Or not that Woodcroft isn't a coach, but he was here, and I think some people forget he did not want to play Connor McDavid against Jack Eichel in 23 playoffs.
No, I
don't know why, and it cost him. Jack Eichel's line was killing him, but he wouldn't play him at home. Even I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now, and I think that was a big reason why what led to him getting fired was that, and I'm sure Jay's changed. Him used to running morning skates and even warm-ups with different lines than they do in a game. I could tell you the players were like, what is this? Why are we doing this? Be confident in what we have. So, no, I don't think that a former coach, and to be honest, I don't think that's the right move.
And so no on Mac T as well?
Yeah, I don't. Last I talked to Macker, I think he told me kind of life was good. The stress of coaching might have been in his past. But I could ask him if he'd I'm sure if they offered him the job, he'd consider it. But I'd have to ask Craig if he feels he'd be, you get out of it after so many years. Do you have the juice left?
Yeah.
Right. Do you have that part of it? Because it's you got to be mentally engaged all the time. And when you're in it, you love it. But I think once you get out of it, I would get last time I talked to Craig, he was pretty happy. Goes down to Arizona for 2 months. He's golfing all the time. So, it's just a different lifestyle. I'm sure part of him would be oh yeah, but I wonder at some point if it's like a player retirement. Yeah, I love the idea of playing, but I don't want to practice. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to play the games.
Yeah,
I would guess it might be the same as a coach.
Yeah, his first year as an NHL head coach was 1 year before Laviolette, but obviously it's been a long time since he was doing it. So what's coming up on the show today?
Wow, man, I don't know about you, but Monday night, what a night for sports. Are you freaking kidding me? That
Crazy.
Game 7 was amazing, overtime. And then, I don't know if you watched the Thunder and the Spurs, but what an epic game. So we're going to talk about some epic games. And, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander goes back-to-back MVP. Could he go back-to-back championships? Pretty hard to do, but a few guys have done it. So we'll touch on that. Obviously, we'll look at the orders and some options. And we're going to talk some green and gold. Chris Morris is going to join me in studio at 4 o'clock today, the president of the Elks. A new season and an opportunity for the Elks and the green and gold to get hopefully back in the playoffs and kind of rebuild their fan base. And talking to people that are out at Fan Day, Al, there's a pretty raucous crowd out at Fan Day. I think
Beautiful.
There's a lot of excitement around the green and gold right now, which is nice to see.
I love it. Thanks, man. Look forward to the show.
Have a good one.
There you go. Jason Krueger, our headliner of the day, brought to you by Faber. Cash Flow Crunch got your business on the sidelines. Schedule your free consultation with Faber's licensed insolvency trustees and get back in the game. Visit faber.ca. Okay, on the way, declinations. Going to look at a little MMA straight ahead, and we'll look forward to that, and we'll have a few comments before we leave about the Edmonton Oilers and the coaching situation and what may come. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
May brings more of what you're looking for at Wolf GMC Buick. The selection, never better. The savings up to $12,000 when you combine cash discounts on your new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickup. Up to $1,750 in cash rebates on remaining 2025 Terrain SUVs. Plus 0% financing up to 72 months on most models. And ask about the truck trade-in bonus of up to $1,500 on select new in-stock Sierra 1500s.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell.
Ew.
Kevin Carius brings the banter, the buzz, and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
They're fast up through the neutral zone, and here's a breakaway. He's coming in hot. He shoots, and oh no, a broken stick.
When it comes to performance, quality parts matter. Napa Auto Parts has all the reliable parts, tools, and more to keep your vehicle running like a playoff contender. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Huge May savings on right now. Sunny, beautiful day, short work week. Yep. Love it. Go cruising in the car, just drive the speed limit, listen to the tunage, and of course, us. This is so much better than taking 23 minutes to put on all your winter clothes and going out and shoveling, then backing the vehicle out and driving to work, and people having to learn how to drive with snow. This is better. No more snow. May long weekends done. It's all beautiful. It is time now for Declinations, brought to you by Fairway Divorce Solutions, the clear road to a new life. There is a better way. Fairwaydivorce.com. And with that, we say hello again to Declan Krueger.
Oh man, what a weekend in the MMA world. This was a peak. Boy, did MMA peak from 2015 to 2016 type of weekend. We got Ronda Rousey armbar and chicks. We got a Conor McGregor fight announcement that I want to get your guys' thoughts on. And we had some UFC. I want to start with that because Arnold Allen goes out there and he gets the win against a game kind of prospect in Melquizael Costa. I'll never be able to pronounce his first name correctly. But Arnold Allen, I really like. Like, you look at him in his 3 losses in the UFC. It's John Silva, it's Masvari Voyev, it's Max Holloway. Like, 3 very, very good fighters. 1 obviously long-reigning champion. 1 kind of believed maybe by some as a potential uncrowned champion of the division because he hasn't got a shot yet. And then another really good prospect in Jean Silva. And you look at those losses and you're like, yeah, like, those are pretty good losses to have. If you're going to have 3 losses in the organization, those aren't 3 bad losses to have at all. But it's also like, okay, so your best win is like Dan Hooker at 145 and Calvin Kattar and Giga Chikadze. Like, we kind of got to pump up the numbers for who we actually beat. I like Arnold Allen a lot. I think he's a great fighter. He's long been one of my favorite fighters in the featherweight division. This was a good win for him. I was happy to see him get it. At some point, though, you got to step up and start. The conversation with you can't just be, you're fighting elite competition tough and you got 3 really good losses. At some point, you got to take a step into you're beating these guys. He hasn't quite done that yet, but I think he's easily one of the top 5 guys in the featherweight division. Ronda Rousey fought this past weekend. So now, this card was on Netflix. Did you guys tune into this card?
Yeah.
Okay, Josh said a little bit. This was, if you guys might be a little young for like Strikeforce, but this was the premier type of Strikeforce card. It was, you're going to get some mismatches that aren't Bellator mismatches, but you're going to get some mismatches that are going to result in some big finishes. You are going to get maybe like a good fight here with 2 guys who are a little bit past it. You got that Nate Diaz and Mike Perry, and you get Ronda Rousey armbarring someone. So yeah, like, people have asked me a lot, what were my thoughts on this? My thoughts are like, yeah, it's fun, but it's so meaningless. Like, there was not a single fight on here that was like, everything was inconsequential. It's like, oh, we got to see a 47-year-old Junior Dos Santos get knocked out in the first round. Like, yeah, I know we were all calling for that. That's awesome. We got to see Francis Ngannou flatline a guy who had no chance, and the betting line suggested as such. We got to see 2 kind of wash fighters in Mike Perry and Nate Diaz. And I don't want to necessarily call Mike Perry wash, but just a guy who's kind of a little behind. Like, he was 14-8 in MMA. He's a heck of a bare knuckle fighter who was 14-8 in MMA. Nate Diaz, I know he's a fan favorite. We all love him. It's not 2016 anymore. Like, it's 2026 now, and he's still doing this. He's always kind of been a jiu-jitsu fighter who's game and will strike, but has never actually been that good. And when he was that good, it was so long ago that we don't even remember it. And then we got just a complete mismatch of a main event that lasted 17 seconds, by the way. So it's like, yeah, this was fun. It was cool to watch. It was a little bit of a throwback. It had some touches of nostalgia to it. But nothing about this has any sort of like, nothing about this card factors into the landscape of the MMA world other than, oh, that was something they put on that was a little different from the UFC, and Ronda Rousey and Francis Ngannou got to fight.
Was it fair? Now, Dak, I'll just tell you my thoughts.
Yeah, please.
Briefly on that particular card and all that happened on that Netflix event. The only word that comes to mind was kind of embarrassing.
Okay.
Like, I watched the main, we'll call it fight in air quotes, between Rousey and Carano.
17 seconds, by the way.
It was like it was the amount of hype coming into this thing, and you watch 17 seconds and it's like, oh, wow. Well, that was ridiculous. That was stupid. That shouldn't have happened. And then you watch Nate Diaz just get absolutely pummeled.
Yeah, got ragdolled a little.
And you're just like, nothing felt real. I felt like I was watching almost a WWE style event.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to break it down, because everything felt like all of the matchups on the main card felt a little predetermined. You could even take it back into the prelims and say some of them felt predetermined. And that's kind of where I come back to, like, it's like, okay, why do we watch? Like, Do we watch for entertainment? Yeah, we do. But at the core, like, we love the sport because it is a sport. And we love seeing, guys like Sean Strickland who can go out there and win middleweight titles. And we like seeing guys like Charles Oliveira who can go on these big underdog runs and become champions. Like, we like the storyline. We like what the sport actually is. There's something to be said for, let's go out there and be entertained. But when it's so shallow and so surface level like this, like, I don't know how MVP dipping their toes in as a new MMA promotion. I don't know how they're supposed to make this thing last.
I will tell you that, and I'm more a boxing fan than MMA, and it goes back a while. But I always liked the Friday nights where you'd be watching fighters you'd maybe not heard of, and maybe you would hear from over the next decade or whatever if they were up and coming. But I'd rather watch, and maybe there's just not a big enough pool, as you say. But I don't mind if it's going to be outrageous mismatches. I wouldn't mind some unproven folks, because to me that's how you sort of build a name and the fan base gets to know you. Basically a grassroots kind of thing. Do they do that?
Yeah, like, to be fair, like, this card had some prospects on it a little ways down on the prelims, and it's like my overall point kind of still remains. It's like, I don't think MVP thinks they can build up any of these prospects into stardom to the point where, like, this is a legitimate organization where we have meaningful matches. Like, their whole shtick has to be, hey, come watch Ronda Rousey armbar someone the way she did in 2012 and 2013. Come watch Francis Ngannou knock out an overmatched opponent. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's cool to kind of maybe watch once, and it's like a bit of a spectacle. But how do you build a promotion where you can't really have any vested interest because everything feels a little predetermined? And here's the thing, even if, like, let's say Gina Carano, who hadn't fought since 2009, by the way, let's say she just won the fight. It's like, oh, okay, so then what? Like, a rematch, maybe, I get, like, who, like, what, like, there's no belts on the line, like, there's no division, like, it's just such a one-off through and through that it's like, why is there supposed to be any real investment in this? And it's like, it's cool to watch, but there just needs to be more for this to be a real thing.
Yeah, and you do need surprises, like stars emerging, like when Foreman came back and he was really good. Like, you sort of need a lore about it, right? You have to build that, and that's exposure and that's eyeballs, and
Yeah, but it's like when Foreman came back, it was like Foreman came back and he was like legitimately competing within the realms of like the WBO and the IBF and the WBA and the WBC, or I guess not the IBF at that time. But it's like he was like, there were belts that were to be on the line. There were world titles to be on the line. Like, there was a narrative there that, like, hey, yes, George Foreman is coming back to try and become the oldest heavyweight champion. It's like, we're just watching Francis Ngannou flatline guys and, collect his $1 million paycheck, then go on his way. It's like, that's cool, I guess. Like, how often do we really want to do that?
In fairness, boxing used to do this all the time, where you create these epic events, and they either people buy the tickets and they don't happen, or they buy the tickets and it's over in 8 seconds.
Yeah, but at least there was something behind that. Like, you want to look at like a Mike Tyson fight where you knew it was going to end in the first round. It's like, at least there was like a world title on the line. It's like, at least we know, hey, this is edging towards Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson.
Do you want them to create like belts or build up to that? Is that an issue? Okay.
Like, ideally, but it's like, how do you do it with such a limited roster, and you have to take two people who haven't fought since 2016 and 2009, or 2016 and 2009 as your main event. You have to like basically find someone who's a free agent who's willing to fight Francis Ngannou.
Okay, so let me ask you, was there any card on the entire like evening that made you go, God, I'd like to see that individual fight again?
Yeah, like, I like watching Francis Ngannou fight, and I do want to talk the Conor McGregor news as well, so I'll try and make this quick. And Montana DeRice texted in, what happens if they're able to make Francis Ngannou and John Jones? It's like, well, John Jones is on an 8-fight deal with a new 8-fight deal with UFC. He's fought 2 of them. I couldn't imagine the UFC ever letting him out of that deal. Now, obviously, anything can kind of happen, but I just think there's too much there with John Jones and his GOAT status that they want to protect their asset and have him be his. So, yeah, like, I don't know. It'd be nice if they could build a division and they could put some belts behind things, but it's just like, how feasible is that really with the talent pool out there? Like, maybe it is. I probably lean to thinking it isn't, but I do want to get your guys' take on this, because you guys have probably spent some time at a buddy's house or at a bar watching Conor McGregor fight, and it's a spectacle and it's an event and everyone gets around and gets their drinks and it's a whole thing. But He hasn't fought since 2021. It'll actually be 5 years to the day, I believe, when he fights again on July 11th out at UFC 329. For you guys, who I think it's fair to say are probably casual MMA fans at best, but knowing that Conor McGregor is the absolute number one superstar the sport's ever seen, probably will ever see, when you guys hear a fight announcement for Conor McGregor, and respectfully, Lowetide, I might even be talking to Donovan and Josh a little bit more here.
That's okay.
Yeah, just because of like the age thing and like the era, whatever. Like, do you guys get excited for this?
No.
All right. Josh gave me like the kind of. So Donovan, so yeah, like that's my thing. So like, will you watch it? Do you think you'll watch it?
Will I watch it? Probably, because I know my friends are going to watch it. It's going to turn into a nice kind of night where you have some beers on the couch with the fellas and you have a nice night out of it. But am I excited about it? No, I find this is a guy who I didn't like in the first place.
I agree, yeah.
And I don't know, like to me, there's something about watching guys past their prime that I just like. I don't want to see that.
Because my thing is like, if you're the UFC, it's been 5 years since Conor last fought. It's been probably like 8 years since he's been in his prime. Like in all that time, and I know they've tried with Sean O'Malley and with Poetan, and they've had some, success, and Ilya Taporia. And to be fair, Conor McGregor really is one of one. But it's like 11 years after he won the title, 10 years after the Nate Diaz fights, this is still what the UFC is hitching their wagon on people to get excited about. Like that just doesn't seem like kind of the best way to go about things. And then it kind of breeds another question. It's like, well, like you guys are the promoters. Like, what have you been doing for the last 10 years? And again, that's a little unfair because Conor McGregor is so one of one, but it's like, this is still what we're supposed to get excited about as MMA fans. Like it feels like we're being cheapened a little bit because there's been nothing for the last 5-10 years for us to really get excited about until just a wash Conor McGregor fight.
All right.
Yeah, it's an adequate their rant there by Deck, but
I am good. I'm happy to hear you'll watch it though.
I'll watch it. I'm just not going to. I don't think I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, what are the odds it's actually going to be a good fight? Like realistically.
Yeah, I mean, I think Max Holloway just drowns him and crushes him.
He's just going to get pumped. It's going to feel like the
yeah.
event we just watched over the weekend.
Horrible matchup for him.
If this was an advertisement for this, it didn't go well, but it was honest and truthful, and I enjoyed that very much. All right, Jason Gregor on the way. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. We're back tomorrow. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. News from around the sporting world: the Vancouver Canucks have fired and put after one season behind the bench. 3 assistants also let go: Kevin Bean, Scott Young, and Brett McLean. The NHL has denied Vegas's appeal to get their draft pick punishment reduced following their lack of media avail. Kansas City Chiefs Rashee Rice has been ordered to spend 30 days in jail after testing positive for marijuana in a violation of his probation. And two-time champion Carlos Alcaraz will miss Wimbledon because of a lingering wrist injury. Cleveland and New York in the NBA are going to play game 1 of their Eastern Conference Finals at 6. And the Blue Jays will be in action at 5:05 out in New York, taking on the Yankees. Dylan Cease on the mound. You can hear that one on Sports 1440 AM dial only. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.